Hey guys, it's your boy M.K.S here, back with another video, and welcome to my fourth and final video on how I think dyslexics and dyslexic thinking can benefit, hopefully, Tanford and Celtic and help them to win and become world class, and most importantly win. I guess that's the order, but I'd love to continue to improve at Tanford and Celtic, and I dream to travel to Italy and to work with Celtic as well in the future. So these are pointers number 31 to 40 as people. I was thinking of probably doing one, which is talking about what I was wondering what that noise was for a sec. I'm talking about what I hope to achieve in the future. But yeah, I might mix it up. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so yeah, hopefully I'll achieve what I talked about in parts 1, 2, and 3, and maybe even more than that in the future. So here goes. So it took me a while to get up, put out of bed and the rest of me, and get organised and avoid distractions and hope my mum doesn't or anyone else doesn't call me. God willing, Godspeed, no one will call me, distract me or whatever, and I'll just be able to focus on this as much as possible. And a few tasks I've got to do today is like make my bed, strip and remake my bed, cut my toenails, little things like that. I didn't put the dishwasher on because it wasn't that full, but anyway, that's one task probably I would get. Other than the dishwasher and emptying it would be robots to make beds. I think that would be pretty cool. Anyway, here goes. So I'm just hoping I didn't forget anything in the intro. So here goes. Number 31. I talked about and a part of this video, excuse me, or this video input, or these videos, even these series of 4 videos, this being the last one, are kind of inspired by Made by Dyslexia when they talk about lessons in dyslexic thinking. So it's kind of inspired by that, not completely, but it is kind of inspired by lessons in dyslexic thinking, amongst other things, and what I've learned about the positive traits of dyslexia by Made by Dyslexia, and before that even the Yale Centre for Dyslexia, and in between that the Dyslexic Advantage. They've had some great summits and things like that, summits, conferences, events, whatever the differences are between those and that kind of thing. And also I was thinking about the podcast by a black British dyslexic guy. I think his name is Sean Douglas. At the beginning of his videos, he normally says, I don't know if he always says this like I do with my intros pretty much always, but most people probably do pre-recorded videos. I normally do mine live if I can, but I prefer to do it that way. But anyway, he talked about, he normally says like, some people when they think of dyslexia they think slow or backwards or whatever it is. I think he says they think slow, but we think innovative, creative, or whatever, problem solving. And then he goes to a list of people. We think sporty, goes to a list of sports stars. So sports can be a pathway for dyslexics. So some people think of dyslexics as being slow. In this case, I could say we think of dyslexics as being sporty and creative and innovative ideas, people, out of the box thinkers, and all those sorts of things. Pretty cool, I guess. So turning a negative stereotype into a positive. Number 32. So in the future, hopefully, we'll show what dyslexics can do by benefiting Tanford and Celtic as much as possible. Funny enough, Roma are playing Celtic today. I didn't mean to finish this yesterday, though, as it happens, but and then talk about how I dreamed that we would benefit. Today's plans are supposed to be about how we could benefit Torino, Celtic and Torino, but yeah, hopefully I'll get to that later. But this is finishing off yesterday's plans, which I didn't quite get around to. Number 33, I talked about how I dreamed that in parts 1, 2, and 3, or at least one, if not 2, or even all 3 of those. I talked about how I dreamed that dyslexics will invest into, donate to, even and sponsor in Tanford and Celtic, and also help with like marketing Serie A, the Coppa Italia, and the Italian Super Cup, as well as like Celtic and the Tanford team generally as well. So yeah, using dyslexic creativity to market them and promote them around the world, and hopefully attract billions into Italian football and Celtic, including, like, say, sponsorship money for Serie A. I'd love to encourage as many companies and investors to sponsor Italian League Serie A as possible. I dream that Serie A will get the most in sponsorship investment, which hopefully will mean they can get more prize money for the clubs, which would mean more money for him to buy the best possible players, bring in the best possible coaches, coaching staff, directors of football, managers, and things like that. I wonder what people like, as a side note, a little bit of a side note, I wonder what people like Arsene Wenger and Alex Ferguson, who was main guy I was thinking about, when I think about it, I wonder what they would have done in Italy, which I mentioned recently, but I suppose I only thought about that recently. But yeah, moving on, number 34. I was going to say this in point number 33, but I thought I'd move on to point number 34 and mention it in this point, which is, if I can remember my chain of thought, it's a bit of a dilemma with talking about prize money, because I talk about how I would love for Italian teams and Celtic to sort of say they're going to give the money to charity and encourage sponsors to match what we give away to charity in what we give to charity in sponsorship money. So, for instance, if an Italian team like Inter Milan or AC Milan or Roma or Torino or whoever, if they give away, let's say, 100 million in prize money and have 100 sponsors who match that money, I worked out, I think that would be about 10 billion minus the 100 million we'd give away, say we as a supporter in that case. So that would be about 9.1, I think. No, 9.9, sorry. 9.9 billion or something like that. So that would be a lot of money to spend. So the prize money would, when I think about it, I was going to say, like, having more prize money wouldn't be that beneficial if we gave away to charity. But then again, if it meant that sponsors came in and matched what we gave away to charity, it would mean that that money would make a difference. Because, in fact, it would make an even bigger difference. Because if 100 companies matched the donation to charity, then it would have 99 times more than what we give away, I guess, because minus the initial investment or donation or whatever. Forgetting to drink my tea. But yeah, if we if it was 1,000, it would be even more. It would be like 9,900 times the amount or something like that. Something like that. 999, sorry. Brain not working as per usual. But also I talked before about, and I want to repeat my point again, about discouraging investment into like the wars and the weapons trade, and instead encouraging that money to be invested into Italian football and Celtic. One thing I was thinking about is, like, to improve requires, I normally say, to improve requires change, which I struggle with, but Italian football needs a lot of improvement, which means it needs a lot of change, which I think dyslexic thinking can really help with that, like thinking outside the box, not to mention, like, so it's basically thinking differently to the norm and thinking like, this is the way it's always been done. But as someone put it, he says, doing things because that's the way we've always done them is not a very good way to do things unless you get the results you want. So, like, if we stuck with that way of thinking, we'd still have slavery. Unfortunately, that still happens in parts of the world. But things like slavery, colonialism, empire, slavery, racism, sexism, and other isms, basically prejudices, have to be challenged, and the status quo is challenged to make changes, to make difference. So to make differences, or at least a difference, requires a different way of thinking. So I'd love to challenge, like, get rid of as much prejudice and violence in Italian football as possible, to challenge basically violence, hooliganism, also, and that kind of thing, and crimes, criminality, and sexism, racism, and other forms of ism, as say prejudice, within Italian football, especially, to improve it and focus more on saying we might be able to win more. And rather controversial, I think, like, even with, let's say, the black community, saying, like, Italian football to tackle racism, and therefore a reward in that it would be to attract more investment and sponsorship from black people around the world as well. So it's an undeserved privilege that Italian football would get. I know, so I'm not mentioning too much with Celtic because by and large, Celtic as a club stands against racism already, and is normally against prejudice and that kind of thing. Although it does have a hooligan group, like most clubs, I guess, most FCs, most football clubs. But it's normally against prejudice as far as I'm aware. Although I know we do have some bad fans as well, like every club has its bad eggs, if you like, or whatever you want to call them, rotten eggs or whatever. But so yeah, moving on, number 35, I'd love to know from Italian fans and Celtic fans what they think. And I'd love to, again, another thing I talked about before was, and is how I'd love to ASAP find ways to bring Italian football fans and Celtic fans together with each other. So, I mean, Italian fans with other Italian fans and Celtic fans with other Celtic fans, but even like maybe Italian fans and Celtic fans together and have Zoom groups and things like that, and find ways for the clubs, Italian football clubs, and maybe even the Italian FA, the Italian national team, Azzurri, so the FIGC, the Italian FA, and the Azzurri, the Italian national team, and those involved in Italian football, to talk to the fans and say, like, this is our 5 to 10 year vision, this is what we're going to improve, this is how we're going to finally improve Italian football, and that kind of thing. So yeah, connecting together the supporters with the clubs, the club owners, managers, coaches, coaching staff, directors, the football dietitians, and whatnot, all those involved in the football, basically. Even having ways for the fans to talk to the players and say, like, it would be interesting, I think, if the players had to answer to fans after games, hopefully from a safe distance, so they're not getting attacked physically at least, but like fans could actually say, like, we need you to put more effort in, or whatever it might be, or whatever, if the footballers had to answer the fans after their performance, hopefully again in a safe environment. But moving on to 36, so yeah, hopefully as in the future, as much Dyslexics will, hopefully Italian football will have as much investment and sponsorship and general money and funding and whatnot as possible, and Dyslexics will be a part of that, as well as other groups, but especially Dyslexics. And moving on, number 37, similar with Celtic. Number 38, I hope we can build on that passion. I know it'll be a hard sell, as I said before, to get Dyslexics to show what we can do for Italian football. He's not going to go on my keyboard, but I just trying to get comfortable, I guess. Oh baby. I hope that I can convince as many Dyslexics, and even any charities, NGOs, religious groups, businesses, or whatever that might fund travel and things like that, and support those goals and support my plans for benefiting Italian football and Celtic. I'd love to return the favour somehow by promoting them and promoting the material or things they want me to promote or whatever in the fairest way possible. So those who support me the most, I hope to reward the most and give back and that kind of thing, basically. To reward them for what they do to help me. So I hope to return the favour. I'll probably overcomplicate, but yeah. I was going to say like 1 to offer 1, or share, line for line, and like for like, but I don't want to go into too much details on that. Number 39. But in the future, I hope to explain those ideas and find a concise, I was going to say succinct, that's the right word, concise way of explaining those ideas. And number 40. So yeah, hopefully in the future, Dyslexics and probably other groups as well, like Anglo-Indians and other Eurasians, and other groups will have benefited Italian football and of Celtic to make them as world class as possible, as good as possible, world class and winning things, most importantly. And I'm out. Peace and love. Please let me know if you have any other ideas you can add to my ideas.